Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
ISKCON founder Charya Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parikacharya Ashtaracharya Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem Saha Koi Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Gopa Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan ki jai. Shri Mayapur Dham ki jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Yamuna Mai ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Tulsi Devi ki jai, Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaura Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devam Saraswatam Vyasam Tato Jayam Erdayet Nasta Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatottama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this morning we'll be reading from Canto 7, Chapter 4, Text 9 through 12. But we'll be reading just the first shloka. Yatra Vidruma Sopana Maha Marakata Bhuva Yatra Spatika Kudyani Vaidurya Stambapantaya Yatra Vidruma Sopana Mahamara Katabhuva Yatra Spatika Kudyani Vaidurya Stamba Panktaya Yatra Vidruma Sopani Mahamara Katabhuva Yatra Spatika Kudyani Vaidurya Stamba Pantaya Yatra Vidruma Sopana Mahamara Katabhuva Yatra Spatika Kudyani Vaidurya Stamba Pantaya Anyone else? Okay. Synonyms. Yatra, where? The residential quarters of King Indra. Vidruma sopanaha, steps made of coral. Mahamarakataha, emerald. Bhuvaha, floors. Yatra, where? Spatika, crystal. Kudyani, walls. Vaidurya, a Vaidurya stone. Stamba, of pillars. Panktayaha, lines. Yatra, where? Okay, sorry. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada. The steps of King Indra's residence were made of coral. The floor was bedecked with invaluable emeralds. The walls were of crystal, and the columns of Vaidurya stone. The wonderful canopies were beautifully decorated. The seats were bedecked with rubies, and the silk bedding, as white as foam, was decorated with pearls. The ladies of the palace, who were blessed with beautiful teeth and the most wonderfully beautiful faces, walked here and there in the palace, their ankle bells tinkling melodiously, and saw their own beautiful reflections in the gems. The demigods, however, being very much oppressed, had to bow down and offer obeisances at the feet of Hiraṇyakaśipu, who chastised the demigods very severely and for no reason. Thus Hiraṇyakaśipu lived in the palace and severely ruled everyone. Purport. Hiraṇyakaśipu was so powerful in the heavenly planets that all the demigods except Lord Brahmā, Lord Śiva, and Lord Viṣṇu were forced to engage in his service. Indeed, they were afraid of being severely punished if they disobeyed him. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti has compared Hiraṇyakaśipu to Maharaj Vena, who was also atheistic and scornful of the ritualistic ceremonies mentioned in the Vedas. Yet Maharaj Vena was afraid of some of the great sages such as Bhṛgu, whereas Hiraṇyakaśipu ruled in such a way that everyone feared him, but Lord Viṣṇu, Lord Brahmā, and Lord Śiva. Hiraṇyakaśipu was so alert against being burnt by ashes by the anger of great sages like Bhṛgu, that by dint of his austerity he surpassed their power and placed even them under his subordination. It appears that even in the higher planetary systems to which people are promoted by pious activities, disturbances are created by asuras, like Hiraṇyakaśipu. No one in the three worlds can live in peace and prosperity without disturbance. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shlakaya Chakshulmintam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishnam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapara Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shah Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitam Shah Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Nanamostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusita Devi Pranamami Haripri Vancha Kalpatri Vishcha Kripasandi Bevacha Patitanam Pavinibhyo Vaishnabhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Śiva Sari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So everyone is on a quest for happiness. Srila Prabhupada, he said, Lord Brahmā, even to the insignificant ant, the ant is looking for sugar. He's looking for some form of happiness. When the great sages of Naimisharanya saw the state of the people in Kali Yuga, they concluded that Prayeno Payusaha Sabya Kalavasmin Yugejana Manda Sumanda Matayo Manda Bhagya Hi Upadrutaha, that the people in this age they don't live very long. They're misguided, they're lazy, they're unlucky, and always disturbed. And so there's a lazy animal, and I'm not sure if you've seen the cartoon. It's a donkey. And this donkey, what they do is they tie a stick on the back of its neck, and then they put a string, and then in front of that donkey, what's in front of it? A carrot. Have you seen this in India, Muppet? Okay. You seen it, Sureshwar? So this lazy beast, it doesn't want to do anything. So they induce it by this carrot, right? And this donkey, does he know that when it takes one step forward, the carrot also takes one step forward. So in this way, it's being, you can say, cheated. So here is a description of Lord King Indra's heavenly abode, right? It sounds very nice. Crystals, pillars made out of emeralds, you know. The beddings are bedecked with pearls, crystals, and so on. And so when people hear of these descriptions, they want to go to these heavenly planets. So that carrot is in this form here. When I meet a lot of people on book distribution, that's what they aspire for. I want to go to heaven. I want to enjoy. But there's something wrong with this description. You guys know what it is? Okay, that's there. Krishna is not in this description. See? And when you ask people about heaven, the last thing they'll mention is God. They think, you know, heaven is a place where you enjoy according to your pious activities. But Srila Prabhupada, he made a good point towards the last paragraph. He says that it appears that even the higher planetary systems to which people are promoted by pious activities, disturbances are created by asuras, like Hiraṇyakaśipu. No one in the three worlds can live in peace and prosperity without disturbance. So even if you reach heaven, the demons can also go there. You know, Christians, they have no idea of this, you know. And there's so many instances where, you know, the demons, they actually reach the heavenly world. And they're very powerful that they take over, like Hiraṇyakaśipu. And so this is a description of the heavenly planets. I heard in a class, and because he mentioned beautiful ladies in the palace. And this devotee was saying that if you compare the beauty of the women here on earth to the heavenly planets, they're 100 times more beautiful. And then comparing the ladies in heaven to Vaikuntha, they're 1,000 times more beautiful. And then from Vaikuntha to Goloka Vrindavan, they're unlimitedly beautiful. And then this devotee said, if you look at from that perspective, if you look at the women on earth, they're like frogs. But, you know, they say the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? So one person thinks, oh, my wife is very charming. And another person will think, oh, you know, he doesn't deserve her, whatever. So most religions, they aspire to reach the heavenly realm. And a lot of people, they compare religions, you know, if I practice this, what will I gain from it? You know, the other class I was discussing how the Muslims, their reward, that carrot is 72 virgins. Yeah. And then, 72 carrots. And then for the Christians, it's salvation. You know, they can enjoy, there's no pain and suffering. And a lot of people, they search out what is the easiest practice of religion. That's why most people that you meet, they practice Christianity. Because they use Lord Jesus Christ's his sacrifice in order to be saved from this, you know. I meet a lot of people and they tell me, oh, you're not saved by work, but by faith only. And I tell them, but isn't that a form of cheating religion? you can do whatever you want, and then as long as you have faith in Jesus, you're saved. But we don't agree to this, you know. Because Srila Prabhupada, he was having a conversation, and he was saying how people think, oh, I'm so weak that I just depend on Jesus's sacrifice, and then I can continue my sinful activities. And Srila Prabhupada was talking to this cardinal, and he was saying, Jesus is, do you not think that Jesus is not intelligent enough to use the right words? So he said, what do you mean? And he said, there's a difference between kill and murder. Because he was making the point of, you know, the commandment is thou shalt not kill. And then the cardinal, he said, no, what he meant was murder. And then he said, but you're implying that Jesus made a mistake. If he meant murder, he would say murder, but he used the word kill. So Srila Prabhupada, he says he knew the difference between kill and murder. And then this cardinal, he kept saying, oh, you know, it means this and this. And Srila Prabhupada said, do not misinterpret it in your own way to serve your own convenience, you know. And it's true. Thou shalt not kill means not killing any living entity. And so even the Christians, they will not reach heaven because they're breaking this very simple commandment in the Bible. And when one learns about Krishna consciousness, they find out that the philosophy makes sense. You know, it's the highest philosophy. And when they get a taste of prasadam, they think, wow, this is amazing. A lot of devotees, they came to the movement by prasadam. And our Bhakta Saul, he's one of those pioneers, you know. He goes out to Ocean Beach, and he does a food distribution, prasadam distribution. And then by practicing bhakti yoga, I can become pure, and I can reawaken my love for God. So they know the philosophy is wonderful. They know that the prasadam is great, and they know that the devotees, they're actually their well-wisher. They actually want them to advance in spiritual life. But then there's one problem, 4 problems. The regulative principles. And I was talking to some Mataji yesterday. She said, you're a Hare Krishna? And I said, yes, how do you know him? She said, oh, I know about the chanting. And I said, why don't you join us? And she said, I can't follow the 4 regulative principles. She admitted, you know. And I said, if I can do it, you can also do it. So I was encouraging her, you know. It takes time, it's not right away. And also another word that people are allergic to is surrender. Nobody wants to surrender in this material world. I was speaking to a Christian lady, and she said, God came here to serve us. In one sense, it's true. Krishna comes here for his devotees, but she didn't see it like that. And I said, what about serving God? And then she said, no, God serves us. And I was like, oh.
Well, I thought you were going to say, she said that God comes to serve us to God.
Yeah. But she didn't understand that, you know. And then she became very offensive, and she claimed to be Christian. Yeah. So I said, I'm sorry, miss, I have a lot of work to do. Please have a nice day. So people have different misconceptions of God, why we're here. And these 4 regulative principles, they're the pillars of human society. And these pillars are mercy, truthfulness, austerity, and cleanliness. So these 4 regulative principles, they actually save us. Killing animals destroys the quality of mercy. Truthfulness is destroyed by gambling. How many families are destroyed or broken by gambling? You know, relationships are torn because of gambling. And then intoxication destroys the principle of austerity. And Mukunda Charna Prabhu, he was talking about how illicit sex, when people ask what does that mean, and we tell them, you know, no sex outside of marriage, they don't like that, you know, because they want to enjoy. But illicit sex, it destroys cleanliness, you know. And I remember we went to the farm, a few of us devotees, and I was asking them, what attracted you to Krishna consciousness? Is it the philosophy? Is it the prasadam? And so the devotees gave me their answers. But I answered the 4 regulative principles. I was really attracted by this because my whole life I was, maybe most of us, except Ramapati Prabhu, we were breaking these 4 regs, even before high school. So, and I was thinking, I really want to clean up my act. I want to try to live a more pure life. And when I was introduced to these 4 principles, I was thinking, wow, this is great. This is a nice challenge, So I love the 4 regulative principles. But for others, it may scare them away. I remember our old Sankirtan leader, he advised me. He said, when you go out on books, don't use 2 words. I said, what are those 2 words? He said, don't use sin and God. And I was thinking, this is tricky. How can I not mention these, So a lot of people, they don't like these words, God, religion, sin, surrender. They don't like following. But these rules and regulations are set because our acharyas, they want us to succeed in Krishna consciousness. It's not that, oh, you're suppressed, Just like a doctor, when you have a disease, they restrict you from doing something that prevents you from getting cured. So similarly, we have this disease, this material disease, which is to try to enjoy without Krishna. I remember this one person on book distribution, he said, why are we here? And I said, we wanted to take the position of God. And then he said, I can see that. And I said, what do you do for God? And he said, I'm actually atheist. And I said, why don't you believe in God? And then he said, I don't want to believe that there's someone higher than me. You see that? Yeah. So there's Ravanas and Hiraṇyakaśipu out there. So we want to surrender. We should want to surrender, and we want to try to leave our material attachments. I was driving Maharaj back to his office, and we saw this homeless man. He had a cart, and it was full of, to a sane person, it didn't make any sense. He had a flat basketball. He had a pair of shoes, but only one had shoelaces. And then it had a lot of bags, but they were just full of trash, And Maharaj, he said, this is how Krishna sees us. With our material attachments, what are we holding on to? That's so dear to us. So this is a very pitiful scene, A sane person, when he sees this unfortunate homeless person carrying these things around, you just feel sorry for them. So Krishna, Srila Prabhupada, he saw our condition. We're carrying this flat basketball, we don't even have a pump for it. So many silly things. Just last night, it was 3 guests, and they were comparing how many years they were homeless. This person said, I've been homeless for 7 years, like that. And this person said, oh, I've been homeless for 3 years. And they sounded very proud of being in this condition, Not having shelter, not having, so many things. And a lot of people, they don't know that after they enjoy their Shinya Punya Martya Lokam Vishanti, that after the results of their pious activities are over, they have to come back to this material world. And a lot of people, they don't know this. They think when I get to heaven, I'm going to stay there. But Srila Prabhupada, he made a point that heaven is still within the material world. It's not Vaikuntha, it's not the spiritual world. Hiraṇyakaśipu was so powerful that he conquered all the demigods except the 3. Lord Viṣṇu, Lord Śiva, and Lord Brahmā. And that also includes Yamaraj. Imagine that. And he's the superintendent of death. So when he was asking Brahmā for these benedictions, basically he was protected even against Yamaraj. So you can imagine how powerful Hiraṇyakaśipu must have been. I was distributing books yesterday, and there was a Christian man, and you don't waste your time with him, but he seemed very inquisitive. At the end, he did his, what they do. They say, "Can I pray for you?" So I said, so he put his hand on my back, and I said, "I'm sorry, sir, please, And then I asked him, "What are you going to pray for?" And I told him, "Are you going to pray for my salvation? Are you going to pray that I'm going to be able to go to the pearly gates of heaven?" I said, "What are you going to pray for?" And then he looked at me and he said, "How did you know I was going to pray for that?" So I smiled and I said, "If you really want to pray for me, pray that I'll have unalloyed, unmotivated, pure devotion service to God." And then he looked at me and said, "That's wonderful." I said, "We don't aspire to go to heaven. We don't aspire to be saved. We just want to serve Krishna." And so I handed him a Bhagavad Gita and I said, "You should give this book a chance." I said, "It glorifies Jesus Christ." And when I said that, he was interested. I asked him, "You can just give a donation, and whatever you can give," he goes back to printing more books. And said, "Okay, I can give you something." He gave $10 for a Bhagavad Gita. And then I told him, next time when you pray for others, you should pray for this, to have unmotivated love for God. And he said, "I really like that. I'll keep that in mind." And I'll say a few realizations on our way to Hawaii. A person may think is very important in this world, And when the airplane goes higher and higher, you just realize how small we are, You may be big in your town, in your village, but another part of town, people don't even know who you are. And when the plane was getting higher and higher, you can't even see the people. You can't even see the houses. All you see is just little dots, And then I was also thinking, these people that are attached to their material possessions, your house, your cars, your money, what is that, At the time of death, all of that is taken away from us. So that gave me a little more inspiration to be detached from material things. And I was also thinking how large the ocean is, The ocean is so big, if you drop someone in that ocean, they can't swim back. And I was thinking, how will these people be saved, And I was thinking about, what is it called? The boat of ISKCON? The ISKCON boat. The devotees, they're out there, They're trying to pull people out of this ocean of misery. So there's 8 billion people on the globe now, but people have never felt so lonely, empty inside. I was distributing books the other day, and I said, "What's your biggest fear?" And this couple, they said, "Loneliness." And I said, "You guys have each other." And then they said, "Yeah, but we know it won't last." Like they knew this, but so I said, "Let me give you a book." So I gave them the stack of books that we have. I said, "You guys can learn to cook together. You guys can understand the importance of the soul. You can understand your relationship with God. And these books help you to live a more meaningful life." And they were so appreciative. They gave me a nice donation. So loneliness, anxiety, that means that there's something wrong with our value system. That means there's something wrong with our social system. And there's also something wrong with the goals that we set in life, And I was speaking to Mataji yesterday. She was from New York, and I was sharing the books with her. And she said her realization. She said, everybody wants to become God. She said, nobody wants to surrender. I said, have you read her books? That's what we focus on. And she started laughing. And I said, yeah, people are being cheated. And she said, I couldn't agree with you more. So at that time, I ran out of stacks, but I gave her a Bhagavad Gita and an SSR. And then she said, I don't have signal, but when I do, I'll give you a healthy donation. So she took a picture of the Venmo. And then a few minutes, I saw her, she was holding her phone up trying to get signal. And she gave $50 for a Bhagavad Gita and an SSR. And then she looked at me and she waved, So, yeah. And then so I'll share a few Sankirtan stories from Hawaii. You know, Maharaj, when he says that people think that conditions determine your happiness, and you see that. When we were at the airport, people were flying to Hawaii to try to be happy there. And on our way back from Honolulu, people were coming to California to try to be happy, you know. And it was interesting because, you know, the way people think what happiness is. So we were distributing at the University of Hawaii. There's a lot of students that moved to Hawaii for school there. And I met people from Oregon, I met people from Texas, San Diego also, LA, people from Florida, all over. And I also met people from Nebraska. And whenever I meet someone from Nebraska, I tell this thing about Nebraska that Bhakti Chad told me. If you put a pin in the middle of the United States, that's Nebraska. And then they just start laughing, you know. So these students, they were pretty receptive. Yeah, they were locals too. Yeah. I was thinking I did pretty well in Hawaii, and I was thinking maybe because they think I'm Hawaiian. You know, I'm a local, you know. And I didn't even have to try very hard. I just waved my hand and they came. You know, you don't see that at Balboa Park. So these students, they were receptive. You know, I told them there's more to life than just working. There's more to life than just earning a degree. There's more to life, and you know, and they can understand that. And Hawaii Temple, they have these old small pocket Gitas. They're like the really small ones. And I compare that to the regular Gitas, and I said, we used to print them this size. Now we're having this cute little pocket size, you know. You can put in your pocket, you can put in your purse, and when you need inspiration, you can just open a page. And people are taking these books, you know. Jujamani had similar experience. And then we were at Waikiki Beach. We set up a book table, and then they also did a Harinam. And I stopped this lady. She was from California, and she said, "What are you doing here?" You know, I said, "What are you doing here?" I told her that we're monks at the local. We're visiting the local temple here, and we're sharing books on meditation, how to have a peaceful mind, how to find a higher purpose in life. And this random lady, she took that small Gita, and she reached in her. They're smaller than that. Yeah, it's like the really old ones. Yeah, and then she reached in her purse and she gave me this note. And you know, after collecting donation, you know what $1 is. You know what $10. They have different shades, and she gave me one that I don't see too often, and she gave $50. This random lady, you know, so that she appreciated our work. And then one day we decided to go to this place called the International Marketplace. That place is hell. Like, it's loud, you know, it's full of pollution, but the stores are high maintenance, or they're like the high-end stores. And it was difficult to set up a book table. So Dvijamani and myself, we just decided just to do walking book distribution. I met this guy from, where was he from? Nevada. And he was holding a cigarette. And this guy, I didn't think he was going to take a book. He took his cigarette and he put it out in his hand. I was like, wow, this guy's not going to take a book, you know. So I offered him the small Gita. And then he said, you know, I might actually read this book. He said, how much do you want for it? And I said, you can give whatever you can. We just asked for a donation. He gave me a $20 bill. This random guy, you know. And then when he put it in his pocket, he said, thanks for being here, you know. So he gave inspiration. There was another person, he was in a hurry, so I walked with him. I said, how are you doing? He said, I'm in a hurry. I said, what do you think, what's your purpose for living? And he said, not right now, it's my day off, I'm trying to enjoy. You know, they don't, you know, so on their day off, they're just so miserable from the start of the morning to the end of their shift, you know, and on the weekends, they just try to enjoy. And when I was at Balboa Park, I met one of my old bosses. I used to work at Subway, the sandwich place. And the first time I tried stopping him, he just ignored me. He came back and I said, "Is your name Patrick?" He said, "How do you know?" And I said, "No, in Balboa Park." And then he said, "Glennis?" And I said, "Yeah, you remember me." He said, you know, and he was really bewildered. He said, "What are you doing here?" I said, I became a monk, you know, full-time monk. I'm trying to help as many people as I can. So long story short, he was with his son. And I said, "You know, you should give these stacks to your son. He might like it." And then he said, "You know, I think I'll also read these books." You know? And I said, "Have you ever thought about, you know, what the goal of life is?" And then he said, "I think about it every day." I said, "Thank you for your time." And I said, "You should also get this book." I gave him Bhagavad Gita. So he took a stack in the Bhagavad Gita. And he said, "Let me give you," I didn't even ask for a donation yet. He said, "Let me give you something." He gave $40, you know, my old boss, you know, paying me. So, and then when I was in LA, Bhakti Kevin, he was telling me something interesting. He said, because he was here to distribute Arabic books. And then he said, it's interesting because they see an Asian person distributing Vedic culture, Vedic literature to an Arabic person, you know. In Arabic, sorry. And I was thinking that's transcendental, you know. So Dvija Mani is from Russia, I'm from the Philippines, and we're distributing Vedic literature to random people on the street, you know. People from France, Sweden, Germany, like all over. So it's a nice service. And so I want to thank everyone for you know, their efforts during the December marathon. I think it's really important. And so yeah, let's continue. And let's try to set a nice goal. Maybe we can beat last year's goal. Okay. Yes, any questions?
I got a Sankirtan story.
Yes.
But it's not about me. The few devotees here have heard this, but there's so many new ones that haven't heard. Back in the day, maybe 10 years ago, Damodar Kumar Prabhu was kind of the main book distributor here. So it turned out that one day, I think it was locally, yeah, the Dalai Lama came. He's still going on. I can't believe it. That was 50 years ago. So Dalai Lama came in this big meeting of him in some hall somewhere, you know. So Damodar Kumar set out a book table to get everyone when they came out, you know. So they came out and they looked at him and he looked just like he was from Tibet. They thought he was part of the program. Mm. And so he did so many books. He had to run back to the car to get a whole bunch of more books. He did over $300 worth of books that day. Mm. And that was, I always remember that story. That was his biggest day. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Is there any other questions, comments, or reflections? Okay. Thank you for your time and attention. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Vijay Krishna from.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
May I?
Go ahead.
Yes, Govardhan Prabhu, thank you very much. You're most kind. Dandavat pranams. Prabhu, do you mind reciting again the last sentence of the purport to the text you chose for today?
Yes. Thus, Hiraṇyakaśipu lived in the palace and severely ruled everyone. Is that the sentence?
No, the last sentence of the purport.
Oh, the purport. Okay. No one in the three worlds can live in peace and prosperity without disturbance.
Yes. Thank you very much. You're most kind. Prabhu, based on this quote, my question is, if no one in the three worlds can live in peace and prosperity without disturbance, why is it that the Hare Krishna movement is presenting to the whole world the formula of peace?
Okay.
That is my question.
Okay, I'll try my best to answer that. So Srila Prabhupada, he would compare the temples, ISKCON temples, to be like the spiritual embassy in this material world. Here, you can learn about Krishna, you can learn about spiritual knowledge, you can cultivate good qualities. And actually, who was it? There was a devotee, he was telling me that when he was leaving the temple, he can feel that he's entering darkness, I think it was Maharaj. He was saying whenever he left the temple, he knows that he would go back to the dark material world, on his bicycle. And then when he was coming back for the Sunday program, he can see light, he can hear chanting, he can hear the devotees roaring kirtans, So whenever he would go to the Hare Krishna temple, he knew that it was transcendental, he can feel it, There's something that the Hare Krishnas have that people want, and I think that's the best I can do. Is there anyone who would like to add? Yes, Dravidapu.
Yeah, I think that if you look at the context, even in the high planetary systems to which people are promoted by pious activity, disturbance are created. Prabhupada is not talking about the devotees here. When he says no one, he means no one except the devotees, pure devotees who can live in peace even in the middle of disturbance, like Prahlad. Mm-hmm. So that's the answer, Vijay. This is no one who is not Krishna consciousness can in the three worlds live in peace and prosperity without disturbance.
Dravida Prabhu, are you saying that the devotees can live in peace in the material world without disturbance?
Well, there would seem to be disturbance, but within, peace is something within your heart. He's talking about peace, Was Prahlad Maharaj freaked out when his father was torturing him?
No, he was not.
Yeah, he was in peace. Right in the middle of that big pot boiling oil, he was still in peace. So it's someone who's really advanced, and we saw with Prabhupada, so many difficulties and everything, but he was always sattvic, with Krishna.
Yes, undisturbed, yes. Yeah, he was always undisturbed, yes.
Mm-hmm. And he had the greatest prosperity, pure love of God, more valuable than any gold can be. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Trabhida Prabhu and Govardhan Prabhu, for your wonderful answers. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for asking, Vijay Krishna.
You're welcome.
Shila, huh?
You have something in the chat? I can say something. No.
Well, I don't know if this was touched on in your class, but in the purport there was that statement that Lord Viṣṇu was forced to engage in Hiraṇyakaśipu's service because Hiraṇyakaśipu conquered everything. So Lord Viṣṇu was forced to engage in his service.
I think it says...
Oh, okay, so that's the part. I give an accept, okay. Listen, on my device, it separates that sentence in two, so then I was just looking at that part, so I was really... All right, thank you, that's all. I couldn't understand how that could...
Okay. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.